The anime begins with a group of boys being harassed by two guys who purposefully bump into them. They ask for someone named Rintaro, implying he did something to their friend. The timing is right because at that moment Rintaro comes up, wanting to know if something happened. When they see the tall, blonde, and delinquent-looking boy, the two boys run away. Rintaro and his friends walk to their school while the boy tries to understand what happened. Then, he remembers that he recently tried to help a man who had fallen. However, as it is dark, he had probably scared him. When they arrive at their school, Shohei, one of Rintaru's friends, notices that a girl has dropped her handkerchief, so he picks it up. But the girl refuses to take it back with disgust in her eyes. She even says she'll never be able to use it again after he touched it. Kikyu is an elite all-girls school. All the students are sophisticated and have good grades. Meanwhile, the boys' school, Chidori, is full of playful and problematic students. Although the buildings are side by side, they are complete opposites. Because of that, the girls hate the boys with all their might. They don't even open the windows and curtains, so the Chidori students can't see them. After school, he rushes back home to help his family in their cake shop. It's a slow day, but they can't keep an eye on the client there now. When Rintaro takes a look, he sees a small girl eating enough cake for 3 people and surprises himself. The girl realizes he's staring, blushes, and dashes away. The next day, he's still thinking about having scared her. His friends try to ask if something happened, but he just says it's nothing important. Shohei notes that there's a wall between them and Rintaro. When the boy gets home, the same girl, Waguri, is waiting for him at the shop. She buys a piece of cake and gives it to him as an apology for running away. Still, she looks at the cake, obviously hungrier than the boy, so he lets her eat it. After apologizing, they introduce themselves to each other. She's Waguri Koruko, and he's Tsumugi Rintaro. Then, she sighs in relief, saying she finally learned his name. She had seen him working there a few times, so she wanted to know. That surprises Rintaro because no one had ever taken such an interest in him. Ever since he was a child, people have been scared of him. She assures him that she doesn't think he's scary, so he doesn't need to worry. As a thank you, he offers to accompany her to the nearest station. Although she says it's okay, she doesn't forget to buy another cake. Later, Rintaru's mother warns him that she saw the cake box ditched on the floor near their entrance, and the girl was nowhere to be seen. He leaves instantly and looks for her in his neighborhood. After a few minutes, he finds the same 2 guys who were bothering his friends harassing the girl. They are telling her all the bad rumors surrounding Rintaro. However, she doesn't believe them. More than that, she says the guy should talk to Rintaro before judging him. To her, he's an incredibly kind person, but that makes them angrier and one of the thugs tries to punch her. Then, Rintaro jumps in to take the beating in her place. When he turns around, with blood on his forehead, the bullies vanish, petrified. After that, Rintaro goes to the station with Waguri to guarantee nothing else will happen. Before going home, she tells him she'll go to the shop again soon with a big smile on her face. However, Rintaro doesn't have a clue about how soon he's actually going to see her. The next day, while sitting on his school desk, he sees the curtains of Kikyu's class moving. Then, a girl opens the window for the first time, and we can see it's Waguri. Rintaro covers his windows with a curtain, shocked by that revelation. He and Karuko are much closer than he expected, but they also might have another problem dividing them. Shohei complains to Rintaro about the girls from Keikyo staring daggers at him. He's tired of this treatment, so he's angrier than normal today. His other friends arrive, and they realize Rintaro closed the window, something he never does. When they joke that he did that because Keikyo is too disgusting to look at, he loses his composure and screams at them. He tries to explain himself without telling the truth, but he can't do it convincingly. During class, he thinks about Waguri and how she'll probably never talk to him or go to the cake store again. However, after school, she's waiting for him by Chidori's gate. That causes a commotion, meaning he can't talk to her alone. Before he can blink, Shohei is in front of Waguri, shouting at her and asking why she's there. Rintaro takes him by the collar, telling him to chill. However, the boy starts crying. He's jealous she's waiting for someone by the gate and wishes someone would do the same for him. He doesn't even suspect she wants to talk to his friend. Suddenly, other girls from Kaikyo go to Waguri's rescue, overly preoccupied. Shohei tries to talk to them after they bump into Rintaro, but they ignore him. The only thing they do before leaving is give him the same look of disgust as always. As Rintaro and his friends walk to a karaoke place, he realizes Waguri was probably waiting for him. He thinks it'd be best if they didn't get involved anymore, as having a friendship with a Chidori student could be bad for her. Still, he can't help but feel happy about her waiting for him. Sako notices his awkwardness and asks him if something happened. His other friends say he really has been acting strangely recently. Still, Rintaro can't tell them anything. He's too afraid they will judge him for hanging out with someone from Kaikyo, so he stops himself. When he comes home, he sees that the store's light is working, so he goes to check out. To his surprise, Waguri is there. She wants to apologize for the ruckus earlier, so they talk about it while eating cake. Up admitting he was happy about her waiting for him, which clearly gets her ecstatic as well. However, the boy also says he never imagined she'd want to meet him again after finding out he's from Chidori. That takes Waguri aback, and she says she was happy. Then, she leaves the store looking hurt. Rintaro realizes that, but can't understand what he did wrong. When his mother comes to check on him, he's so worried that he looks like a skeleton. After he explains the situation to her, she can't believe how slow on the uptake he is. Finally, she explains that he did to Waguri the same thing kids have always done to him throughout his whole childhood. Upon that realization, Rintaro gives himself a good punch on the face to get back to his senses. The next day, Waguri arrives at school to find Rintaro waiting for her by the gate. As it's early, both of them can talk without any interruption. The boy apologizes and tells her the truth, as she has always done the same for him. When his classmates complain about the Kikyo girls, he feels troubled, imagining they are saying those things about her, so he can't help but worry. However, he was indeed happy the day before, and he won't take that back anymore. Waguri introduces herself again, confusing the boy. She says they are themselves and their schools don't matter. If they want to get closer to each other, they don't have to worry about it. Next, they enter their class and open the windows to see each other, and the girl is so happy that she literally jumps up and down. Shohei talks excitedly about the sports festival to Rintaro. However, they might not be able to participate because students who fail the midterm exams cannot join it. Shohei really wants to pass, but he cannot focus for even 10 minutes, so his only option is for someone else to teach him. The problem is that Saku already did that last year and Shohei failed. Because of that, the two end up fighting and dragging their other friends into it. Now Rintaro, who also needs help, has to study only with Shohei, while the other two study by themselves as well. After school, Rintaro and Shohei go to the local library to study, but within seconds, Shohei gives up on the exercise, saying he cannot solve it. So for the first time, Rintaro opens up and tells him they should apologize to Saku and get the four to study together. Shohei points out how that's uncharacteristic of Rintaro, but he's happy with that. Then, he leaves to find Saku in school and apologize. A few minutes later, Rintaro abandons his seat to make space for two other students. While trying to find a new place to study, he sees Kaoruko preparing for her exams with a friend. As they leisurely talk, he overhears that she's at the top of the class and gets disappointed in himself. Even though his school isn't nearly as strong as hers, he's still at the bottom. While he reflects on that, resting on a bench, she greets him. The girl had seen him earlier, so she went looking for him. As they talk, he finds out she isn't rich and entered the school on a scholarship. Thus, she always has to be at the top of her class. When he sees her open up about her opportunity at Kaikyo and her desires, he feels like doing the same. So to enjoy the sports festival with his friends, he asked for her help to study. Happily, she agrees to help him when she's free. At that moment, a silver-haired girl from Kaikyo comes looking for Kaoruko and asks who Rintaro is. The girl is rude and tells Kaoruko to stay away from the Chidori boy. At the same time, Rintaro's friends arrive to see the scene. Shohei recognizes Kaoruko and tries to get close to her, but Subaru and Rintaro do not let him do that. Subaru is surprised to see the blonde boy do that, but still leaves with her friend. However, Saku starts badmouthing her intelligence and looks as he's angry with her being rude to his friends. It obviously affects her, but Rintaro intervenes before the situation gets worse. He tells Saku it isn't like him to say such lame things and the boy stops, and that surprises Subaru once again. Then Rintaro takes the blame for everything, saying he was the first one to talk to Kaoruko as he wanted to apologize for the incident at Chidori's gate. Shohei does the same as he was the one who scared her. To everyone's surprise, Kaoruko not only accepts the apology but also says she's sorry for starting that mess. At night, Kaoruko calls Rintaro to apologize and tell him that he was cool. The boy gets happy with the compliment and tells her she doesn't need to speak so politely to him anymore before hanging up. After that, both of them are very embarrassed in imagining what the other looks like right now. Rintaro is so excited about studying with Kaoruko that he wakes up way earlier than he needs to. On his way to meet her, he overthinks everything he can, from what he's wearing to the day it is, but his worries fade as soon as he sees her outside the station. Kaoruko also admits to being nervous, which lets him put his guard down and say the same. Then, they go to a restaurant and start studying as soon as they finish their meal. Rintaro's biggest problem is math, so that's what they focus on. He's a bit shy to say he wants to study to participate in the sports festival with his friends, believing it's a lame reason, but Kaoruko disagrees. She thinks it's a great motive and that it shows he loves his friends. The girl says she feels the same for hers, especially Subaru. The silver-haired girl can be a bit rude, but she's very kind and has been through a lot. So, Koruko was glad to see Rintaro treating her well. After they go back home, Koruko gives him a study plan. Even though she has her exams as well, she also wants to do her best to help Rintaro achieve his goal. They part ways, and the boy is ecstatic about the situation. However, Subaru interrupts his feel-good moment and invites him for a chat. The girl asks if Rintaro is Koruko's boyfriend, and when he tells her no, she says he should stay away from them. Koruko is very important to Subaru as they have been friends for a while. More than that, she was the first person to stand up for her and praise her hair, unlike her boy classmates, who would bully Subaru. She knows she might be in the wrong, but Subaru still pleads that Rintaro stop seeing Koruko. If the teachers find out the scholarship student is hanging out with someone from Chidori, they might take everything away from her. The boy understands that, but he still can't give up on being friends with Koruko. While on the train back home, Rintaro meets the two schoolgirls to whom he gave his seat in the library. Although they're a bit scared, they still thank him for what he did. Because of that, he comes to think about how Koruko is always thanking him for everything. He doesn't think he made the wrong choice, but he's taken aback thinking about possibly hurting such a kind person. Then the fateful day arrives. It's time to know the test results. Thankfully, both Rintaro and Usami get good grades and don't fail, meaning they'll participate in the festival. Their classmates throw a party and even prepare sashes with "didn't fail" written on them. However, one of his classmates gets too excited and knocks Rintaro's table over. Because of that, Saku finds the study plan with a note from Koruko. Maybe keeping this friendship a secret from both schools will be harder than he ever thought. Now, tension fills the air as Tsumugi doesn't know what to say to that. To make matters worse, Ayato and Shuhei also realize Koruko is the girl they saw in the library. Saku presses for an answer again, saying he won't accept the usual "it's nothing" that Rintaro always tells them. So the boy gathers his courage only to say he doesn't want to explain. Before the argument can escalate, their teacher steps in and tells them to organize their desks. At home, Rintaro feels quite depressed, but he remembers he needs to tell Koruko that he passes the exam. She becomes really excited about his message and congratulates him warmly. While the boy overthinks the situation he's in, she happily wonders which sports he might participate in during the festival. The next day, things remain just as tense between Saku and Rintaro. Shohei even tries to cheer them up so they'll get along again, but it doesn't work. Fortunately, Ayato knows how to handle this kind of situation better. As Saku walks home, Ayato and Shohei catch up to him and try to figure out why he's so upset. He explains that it's not about the Kikyo girl, but rather the fact that Rintaro doesn't trust them. This surprises the other two boys, but Ayato points out how Tsumugi said he didn't want to talk about the matter instead of brushing it off as nothing important. For the first time, their friend isn't pretending nothing is wrong. With that realization, Saku becomes a bit calmer. When Rintaro changes his mind, they'll be ready to listen to his story. The three of them then switch topics and start deciding where they want to eat. Meanwhile, Koruko arrives at Rintaro's cake shop. He hides behind the counter, but his mother pulls him up. Seeing that something is off, she also tells him to take Koruko's order. The girl places her order and gives him a high five to congratulate him for doing well on his exams. However, when she brings up the sports festival, Rintaro's expression turns sad. To cheer him up, she starts rambling about how food is great for lifting spirits, which makes him laugh out loud. Seeing such a big smile on his face, she becomes just as happy. After she leaves, Rintaro realizes how much he likes her. But it's more than that. She's a warm and kind person, yet there's something about her that he can't quite put into words. During dinner, his mother prepares more food than usual to celebrate his success. She's a bit surprised by his score and teases him about it, but what matters most to her is that he studied hard and gave his all until it paid off. When he was younger, he often gave up on things easily, so she's proud to see him grow. Because of that, she's confident he'll work through whatever problem he's dealing with now. Meanwhile, Koruko meets Subaru at a playground, where the silver-haired girl reveals she spoke to Tsumugi a few days ago. We see Koruko and Subaru's childhood. One day, Koruko falls from the monkey bars while playing at the park. It's not Subaru's fault, but she still feels shaken. Koruko quickly assures her she's fine and tells her she's kind. Subaru, admiring Koruko's beauty and mental strength, wishes she could be that strong one day. Back in the present, Subaru tells Koruko about meeting Rintaro. Surprisingly, Koruko isn't upset when she learns Subaru asked Rintaro to stop seeing her. Instead, she apologizes for not realizing how much stress her friend has been under. She understands Subaru acted out of concern, and this unexpected reaction leaves Subaru stunned. Subaru assumed Rintaro never told Koruko about their conversation. Otherwise, Koruko would have been different toward her. Realizing Koruko would never hate her, she begins to feel guilty. Even after changing her appearance and maturing, Subaru still feels like the same weak girl who needs protecting. She apologizes for dragging Koruko down. Seeing her friend hurting, Kaoruko suggests they go to the park like old times. Past and present blur as Kaoruko cheerfully climbs the monkey bars, though now they seem slightly intimidating. Subaru lingers below, still subdued. When Kaoruko asks why she won't join, Subaru says she doesn't want Kaoruko's dress to get dirty. Kaoruko reminds her they're reliving their childhood days and recalls the time she fell, how Subaru was so worried she wanted to take all her pain. Kaoruko tells her she's always been a kind person. Subaru denies it, saying she's only burdened her with problems, while Kaoruko is kind for putting up with her. Pouting, Kaoruko says it's not fair. Even as kids, Subaru was always there for her. When she joined Kikyo, Subaru was the only one by her side. She urges her friend not to think less of herself. Kaoruko promises she'll keep loving Subaru until the day she stops doubting herself. Subaru realizes Kaoruko has always been like this, and now she knows what she must do. Hugging her tightly, she asks what Kaoruko wants to do about Rintaro. Kaoruko says she still wants to see him. Subaru asks if she likes him, and Kaoruko blurts out she loves him, before quickly changing it to like. Subaru then reveals Rintaro told her he wouldn't stop seeing Kaoruko. Finally, Subaru accepts her actions. She still doesn't like herself, but hopes one day she can embrace the self Kaoruko loves. Until then, she wants to hold her head high and walk beside her friend. As they leave the park, Kaoruko gets a text from Rintaro asking to talk. He struggles to send it but believes the only way to fix things is to speak with Subaru again. Kaoruko calls him and cheerfully says Subaru is with her. From the background, Subaru tells him to meet her tomorrow. The next day, Rintaro bluntly asks Subaru if he can keep seeing Kaoruko. She says he doesn't need to ask. She's not Kaoruko's mother. He presses further, asking what he must do to keep meeting her without becoming a nuisance. Rintaro admits he knows about the tension between Chidori and Kikyo, but still wants to see Kaoruko. Subaru can't believe he isn't angry with her. Instead, he's asking for advice from the very person who tried to stop him. He explains that Subaru was simply looking out for her friend and that it was kind of her. Hearing him echo Kaoruko's words makes everything click for Subaru. Rintaro asks what he can do to put her at ease since he can't ignore the people Kaoruko treasures. She smiles, realizing Kaoruko has found someone equally kind. Subaru tells him Kaoruko knows about their earlier talk and says it's fine for them to meet, just far from their schools. A boy from the cafe passes by, commenting that they seem like friends now. Subaru says they're not, yet, and asks Rintaro if he'd like to be her friend someday. Stunned, he wonders what's changed since their last meeting, but Subaru simply smiles and says it's a secret. But that's it for this part. Let me know if you want the next part of this anime.